Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Wednesday. How do you like that new intro?
Okay, so that was just a quickie because Lila wanted the new pictures up. So
I like it. I think it's good.
I want to jazz it up a little bit. It was kind of like I used a different program last time, so I just tried to edit out that little snippet where the pictures were different, but
Yeah,
it's not as jazzy as the other one.
I don't know, Pat. I thought it looked pretty good.
Just saying, but I would like to commend myself. I pushed the button on the exact right second to where the 30 seconds matched the 0 live seconds. So like
it all matches up.
The synchronicity is there. Yeah, and it was deliberately glitchy / seizure inducing. And it did much for me.
I like it though. It feels like, a little bit of a media commentary kind of feeds into that a little bit. I like
color. I put all kinds of thought into the profound implications.
Yeah, the subtext there.
Right.
Well, thank you. I like it a lot. How are you?
I'm good. I had a decent week. I actually worked. My boss has been kind of lazy and not working much. So it's nice to get back out there and actually being able to pay my rent and little things like that.
All right. That feels good. Not having to go further into debt. We live in debt. So that's good. I was gone for my brother-in-law's sort of celebration of life, and it was obviously really sad, but one thing that was incredibly heartwarming was to see so many different members of our extended family show up and just show up to work and to be supportive, and there was a real sense of community, and like no matter what, there's a core group of people who are always going to be there for you, and there's something really poignant about that. And it also kind of makes me think a bit about like what we all talk about here, like how this world can feel so massively depressing, but the thing to do is to keep trying to connect with people and keep trying to find those moments of joy. So I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with you. And that's the hard part, I think, with the pandemic for people that are very diligent and take the pandemic serious still, as you should.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you find your community? And, for me, I think I might've mentioned it before. I started an online group where we play Jackbox games and do silly stuff every week. Yeah. But it was just really, especially during the height of the pandemic when everyone was, working from home and whatnot.
Right.
Like getting together and just not even being about politics, but just with like-minded community, having fun was important. And I think everybody that participated in that is better for it. So
I think so too. I really do. And, I spend so much time, like I joked at the beginning of the pandemic that I've been training for this my whole life. Like, I love nothing more than to sit at home and watch TV and day drink, so, but that lack of community really,
it's that,
yeah. So I think that's really wonderful to do it. And I think anytime we can choose to connect, we should, even though my proclivity is always to just kind of hole up at home. So it was a good lesson for me to see. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm an introvert and I'm totally social, happy to go out, but I need way more home time than most people, as an introvert, it's just a natural constant. Yeah. But I still, even when I realize I'm missing that piece of community and, competition, like I like to go play pool and darts and bar. I'm good at every bar sport. I'm a professional bar sport guy.
So funny. Josh is too. I feel like I need to get you guys together for like an Olympics of bar sports.
I was a casino dealer, and so we would bet on everything, and we literally would hold the Olympics of bar sports.
That's awesome.
We've had that event.
Yeah.
And then we'd also bet and lose a significant amount of money on whose friend is going to randomly call next.
Right.
Just like, hey, $100.
Yeah. What's the over under on that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was plenty of that too. It was like who could throw the rock the farthest across the the water. And, it was also nice to see that people could find some joy in the midst of sadness. Cause, that's hard. Jack Fox. But yeah, so that was it. And, that's all. Did I ask you how your weekend was? I'm sorry. I'm a little scattered.
You are scattered today.
I'm a little scattered.
That's great. I mean, you've been through so much. It'd be weird not to be, considering your situation right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know people really want cat updates.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to report that my couch hasn't been peed on in 3 days.
Oh, I feel like now that you said it.
There's a but.
Yeah.
But my gym shoes and jacket both got hit. So,
oh my God.
There's always going to be something with this one.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And I saw a few people have written on YouTube, like comments on YouTube, trying to suggest different things, like, different kinds of kitty litter or whatever. But I'm sure you've tried all the different things.
Well, I haven't. I saw somebody posted just the last show, I think, about unscented litter, and I haven't tried that. So who knows? It's worth a shot.
All right.
Worth a shot.
Oh, sorry, we both put it up at the same time. Hello. I know now I'm reading. Yeah, I know, that's really true. Like, we all thought that the pandemic was going to be like we were all going to find a new way to go through life, that we didn't have to do everything. We could slow down a little bit. We could work from home. We could decide which meetings were really important enough to have in person. Do you really need to fly across the country for that?
Right.
And then, yeah.
But some of that work-life balance has been, there is an impact from it that we're seeing. People are fighting to work from home. Yeah. And there's some of that. But then the other side of it is, like, how did hospitals become less safe? Like, honestly, that's the number one. I'm like, what the fuck? That's a sign we're losing this war as a leftist.
I really feel like, and thank you. I see so many people are so kind. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I just want to acknowledge that I see you all doing that. So thank you, telling me that you're sorry. I am shocked that even in places where they hadn't discussed, masking, and like in operation rooms now, or in cancer wards, where they would just mask because of course you've got immunocompromised people who can't get sick. Yeah. And now they're not like, I am floored. I mean, Xander and I flew together. We were the only people on the plane wearing masks. Yeah.
To me, the intellectual lack of curiosity, like, from some of the smartest people on the planet, to not have taken 10 minutes out of their day to read what the scientists are thinking about this stuff. Like, especially when you see, like, the doctors wearing surgical masks and not N95s. Yeah. It's like, and then I shared a tweet the other day about somebody who got they did a TikTok not bragging, but very happy that they got a diagnosis that wasn't long COVID. And it's from this doctor who basically told her it's not long COVID because the delayed onset, it wouldn't have been long COVID if there was this delayed onset. And she did TikTok after TikTok, and people commented, and it started setting into her that, like, I don't really care as long as this is going to help me. But, like, the basis for her reasoning was this doctor that informed her that delay wouldn't have been there if it was long COVID. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I know we're going to get to our little COVID report, but it is, it's stunning. And I was, I have to find the article, wrote up a piece about why doctors of all people can be anti-mask or wear the wrong mask. And the person attributed it to this sense. And I think a lot of people who have doctors in their family we're told to, like, brush everything off, like, oh, just put a wet paper towel on it, you'll be fine. There's a sense that if something's really wrong, I mean, a little bit, there's like a godlike complex. Like, if there's something really wrong, I can handle it. Right. So I think there was a huge resistance initially to washing hands before surgery or when you walk into your room. Right. And now, well, let's see, that's probably going to go out the door too. But
They do write these articles these days about how your kids should be out there eating dirt,
dirt is one thing.
Yeah.
Dirt is one thing, but a baseline or like a biohazard level 3 contagious virus is not the way to go. That's not going to build your immunity, in spite of what the immunity debt McKenzie and all of those people came up with. But yeah, I do think it's interesting. And also doctors often, I feel like, I mean, we talked about this last week, but like are not up to date on the latest papers on COVID,
they
especially.
Really are.
Yeah.
They aren't. And you'll hear even at least the good doctors when somebody suffering from long COVID or very informed about COVID and has COVID, either way, when they present their information to a good doctor, they reflect and research and say, at least I'll wear a mask while you're here, or,
Yeah.
But what's happening in a lot of cases is the bad doctors are writing clinical diagnoses in the medical records, basically painting this person as somebody with mental issues.
Yeah. Like high anxiety.
And that can taint your treatment from the medical profession for life.
Yep. Absolutely. That goes on your record. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people talk about that. Well, listen, I think right now across the world, maternal death, which is the #1 cause of mortality in women worldwide, is childbirth. That has gone way down, the rates of it. It is not going down among Black women in the US. Well, that's not because there's something particular about Black women. That's because the doctors who are treating them have something particular about them, right? Like,
it's bias.
Yeah. So clearly you cannot look at doctors as, pillars of perfection. They are human after all. Yeah.
No, it's just like, look, we all know professionals in different fields, and we all know professionals in those fields that are not very intelligent people.
Right. Yeah.
And they, somehow managed to pass med school, somehow managed to become a lawyer. I know some of the dumbest people on earth that are lawyers and high-powered lawyers.
Yeah.
There's,
you know what they call the guy who graduated last in his medical class?
Boss.
Doctor.
Doctor.
like no matter what, if you pass, you pass, even if you're the last guy or gal. So yeah. All right. This is a small preview of how scattered my brain is. I'm going to try to have a sentence come out and carry one thought through from beginning to end. I'm catching up. I'm catching up on sleep.
Godspeed.
All right. Well, how are we starting?
I think your mic,
cheers.
You could lean into it a little bit, maybe.
Little cheers. Can you hear me? Yeah, I know.
Cheers. Let's start with the cheers. This is unrelated, but and there is audio, so you don't have to worry about that. It just takes a second.
Kicks in a little bit.
Cheers. This is the Swedish MEPs. MEP, what is that? Do you have any idea what that means?
Not member of parliament. Member of what?
Yeah, I think it's parliament.
We didn't do our research.
I'm going to push the button before I misspeak some more. Cheers.
Do you want to use your speaking time? So if not, I kindly ask you to leave the podium so that the next speaker can intervene.
There are no more words to speak about what's going on in Gaza, Mr. President of this session. There are no more laws to break. There are no more appeals that we can do to what's going on. The hypocrisy is obvious. Our collective humane has failed. We said that we won't fail, but we're failing again. Human rights have a skin color, and the darker you are, the less human rights you have. We have been tried to be silenced. They have tried to make us look like anti-Semites. They have tried to make us look like we don't care about the safety of the Israeli people. All of that. Still, to make it possible to kill more Palestinians, unfortunately. Thank you.
To her, well said, well spoken.
Here.
I will take your advice. Cheers. Yes.
Oh, shots. Jeez, what am I thinking? What are you drinking, by the way? I'm drinking Sour Monkey, a triple.
Oh, okay. I'm drinking. You know what? Now that I kick on my makeup, I can go back to wine because when my face gets red, I'm trying to cover it up. So I'm back to my wine with shots of vodka and some diet tonic on the side.
That's a good balance.
All right. I think we're gonna get started, right?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. And we've been, I traveled and apparently maybe that's what's messing me up, but I forgot what we normally start the show with, which is a giant thank you to our members, our pup heroes and sheroes. You guys are amazing, awesome. We so appreciate all of your support. Truly. Thank you. So just want to
thank you very much.
Make sure you all know that.
Smash the like button, subscribe, tell your friends.
Okay, wait. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna
link to us on Facebook so we can get some hate viewers.
Oh,
we don't have enough hate viewers.
Yeah. Although I was called a capo cunt this week.
Yes. With K's, both K's.
Yes, the K's. Capo cunt.
Which I really thought that would be a perfect title for the show, but YouTube's algorithm is not going to like that too much, probably.
It could
be
maybe
like they would. Maybe they think it's an anti. Maybe they would want to share it.
It could be. It could be. I thought it was very clever. Boy, those Zionists do not like it when you say anything pro Palestine. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Smash that notification bell and. All right.
Oh, here they come. Let's go.
I think I've already lost all my Facebook friends pretty much. All right. We're moving on. Here we go.
What's our first topic? Dream Team.
Our Dream Team 2024, baby.
Yeah. And the theme of Dream Team is that, look, the corporate elites have their dream team, which is two different parties, which is Joe Biden and Trump. It doesn't really matter. It's they're winning either way with this crew.
That's right. They're winning either way. And we all didn't have a choice. Well, somebody just wrote something about, it was Jonathan Chait. And we never really went into that article. But he said something about, why didn't the left, why didn't the pro-Palestine group run a candidate of their own? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? Like, there were no primaries. Nobody was really allowed on the ballot. Biden isn't doing any debates. He might not even debate Trump. And if you're in the Green Party or running there is one, editorial after another saying how, well, then you really just want to elect Trump. So it's like, no matter what you do, they're going to tell you why you're wrong.
Of course. Why don't you start your own party? Why don't you not start your own party? Because that's hurting democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is it? Which one?
Just whatever you're doing, it's wrong.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you say, just not the way you say it.
And are we held to the standard of like anything you disagree with is all electing the president every 4 years and then you just accept what the president puts out and the policies of that party? I mean, democracy is based on people rioting until the leadership listens. I mean, that's historically the only way in a democracy things change.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but I mean, that, somebody did that tweet a few months ago that I thought was so great. I know we all talked about it and we had it on here, but, liberals agree with every civil rights movement except the one that's currently happening and disagree with every war except for the one that's happening currently. Like it's, and that is just always the way. They're going to take credit for everything and sort of like wrap everything up into the broad left, even though they don't get up off their asses. They tell you exactly how what you're saying is uncivil and not helping your case. And, you know.
Yeah, obviously it's the way you protest, it's what you protest, it's the time you protest.
It's inconvenient. You're turning people off. Yeah.
I mean, look, if Trump's probably going to be worse than Biden, but like, let's be honest, over 20 to 30 years, is it better to change things and have a hard 2 to 4 years, or just never change things? What, like, imagine you're going to live more than 20 more years.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to change it now, or do you want to wait and just tweak it a little bit in 4 election cycles? Because now's not the time to fight this stuff.
It is never the time.
And throw in climate change, throw in all the dire situations people are in, throw in all the young people feeling so hopeless about the future. And, you can't just say, don't talk about that stuff now. This is really affecting a lot of people's lives and futures now.
Exactly. And it's only gotten worse. I mean, we just talk about this all the time, but Joe Biden to me is indistinguishable from George W. Bush. Except his body count. Well, no, I mean, he was a big supporter of the Iraq War also. So yeah, no. And that's the farthest right Democratic president of my lifetime. So that's what voting lesser evil has gotten us.
And the Iraq vote was supposed to be an albatross for any Democrat who supported it, until they were stuck with Joe Biden. Yeah. And then like, well, we got to go with the old guy because, he can win.
Yeah. And now it's kind of fine. And now we all miss George W. Bush because of Trump, which is so ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it was one of the first group of uncommitted that we watched that clip of, the Palestinian Americans in Michigan. And one of the organizers said something like, it might have to hurt in the short term to feel better in the long term. And the truth is, right now, if Biden wins, what that shows the Democratic Party is they can get away with absolutely anything. That they can win even with a genocide, even with not fulfilling any of the promises that Biden ran on, even while completely throwing under the bus every single member of their base. And I don't know. I think that could be really damaging, actually.
I absolutely agree. And I think the unfortunate part is even losing doesn't reinforce that the left was right, because they've mastered the propaganda game to where, well, now they just blame the left and keep trying to push people back to the right.
Right.
It's the left that is the reason we lost. And,
heads you
guys
win.
Just keep it quiet this time. Keep it quiet. You wouldn't in 2016, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter either way, does it?
Well, it does matter.
It
does matter because we need more people to believe the Democratic Party is a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
And that's because we're going to win we're going to put pressure on these politicians in a different way with the general strike eventually. And massive disruption. And if people think the Democratic Party is okay, it's not going to happen. If people think these people aren't working for us at all, it's more likely we get something to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why, I mean, right now, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing good about a Trump presidency either, but I do think that, liberals at least are a little more outraged, or at least pretend to be a little more outraged. Then they'll care about that genocide. So speaking of the way we're talking about politics, and it is just so sad, but that's the way it was framed in the latest AP poll. It was AP and no, I've got it written down somewhere else, NOPAC or something. But Americans believe that both President Biden and former President Trump's time in office did more harm than good. I mean, it is so insane that 70% of the population of each party did not want the person running, or of the whole nation. No, of the whole nation did not want either of those two men to run. And that's who's running. Like, the fact that people think they did more harm than good, and then those are only two options out of 330 million people.
It's not a democracy. That's the bottom line. The two-party system has destroyed any concept of like our choices aren't there.
Yeah.
Like democracy is supposed to be a choice, not a coin flip for which fucker is gonna win.
Yeah. All right. So let's see who's doing better over here. And this is small. So yes, here they come. Devin, you're back. You can make them my readers. Okay. So we've got, for the most part, most people do not see a personal benefit from either the Biden or the Trump presidency. So did you think that Biden helped or hurt? Did you think Trump helped or hurt? And it's funny, white people and men heavily think that Trump, and higher income people, that Trump was actually more helpful than not. But for the most part, they're both stuck in the 30s and 20s of help and hurt, or neither. I mean, that is just the saddest graph, because they're just total failures. Like 30%.
They are. I mean, to me, the next few graphs from this are more telling in a way.
Yeah.
Because that graph, unfortunately, is just like the left against the right against the left.
Right.
But when you break it down a little bit, this is Biden's impact. Did he help a lot, neither, or hurt a lot for creating jobs? And so you see Democrats, only 59% of Democrats think he helped create jobs. Like, despite all the rhetoric about how the economy is great, only 59% of Democrats thought so.
Yeah, that's not a resounding success for your own party.
And you win elections largely with turning out your base and how the independents turn. And independents, 60% thought negatively, neither or no, I'm sorry.
Hurt a lot. No, yeah, you're right. 35, 70. All right, I'm putting my readers back on.
It's the other way. It's 71% thought he neither had an impact or hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So only 24% of independents thought positively about Biden creating jobs. And that's the whole election, is this economy and Trump is bad and abortion. Those are the things it's going to come down to.
24% of the people you need. Unbelievable. Relations with other countries. I mean, like, for Democrats, even 50%, I know I would assume that's fairly low, but like, what are those 56% thinking? What is our relationship with other countries? The whole world hates us right now. Yeah, I think this is worse than when Trump was president.
That 56% just shows massive ignorance on the reality in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like we've lost our moral standing in the world. We've lost our economic standing in the world. BRICS has taken over.
Yep.
On every aspect, the U.S. is in massive decline. So no person should say our relations with other countries are better. Like, the case to make is not even there. Like, I don't even know how they could pretend to argue that.
Yeah. All right. So that's Biden. Did you want to look at the other numbers there? Climate change, which is a joke. Like, we're drilling more oil and we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. The biggest act of eco-terrorism, I think, ever. So,
yeah, probably not.
I mean, seriously, woefully underinformed, those Democrats. They're just checking a box right now because they couldn't actually know the details. All right, so let's look at Trump. We should have them side by side. Everything is so small. But the numbers are pretty much flipped. I mean, it really just, as low as all of the positives are for both of them, the fact that Democrats just toe the line for their guy and Republicans do for their guy. But so, yeah, I mean, it really is independence. And independence, I'm going to toggle back really quickly, because creating jobs, which is probably going to be one of the biggest issues, right, is the economy. The economy and cost of living. Independents think highly of Trump, 35%, 32%. All right, yeah, okay. And with Biden, independence, 24% and 19. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and how the strategy that Democrats have to get Biden across the finish line is the economy,
Yeah.
abortion, the other guy bad. Well, if independents don't see the other guy hurting them economically, they think the other guy was better economically.
Yep.
They're just not scared of all the fear mongering because everyone lived through Biden, everyone lived through Trump. So you can look at the 4 years of Biden. Well, you can look at 2 and say we're almost going to be in World War III here for one. You can look at the price of gas, which is not the biggest barometer, but that's one that people see and feel.
Yep.
But the price of groceries is a very real thing that falls on Biden.
Absolutely. That's huge.
You know, and the rent, they haven't done anything about rent control. They're letting corporations buy all the housing up. And it didn't start under Biden, but it peaked under Biden and people feel it under Biden.
And he ignores it. And he has a whole bevy of toadies who go write all of these, editorials, op-eds, everything's great. And it's just people who are complaining and they don't know what their bank account's really saying. Whereas because you're right, like it's not entirely his fault. Although, I mean, he's been in power for 40 years. So more than our last few presidents, it's actually more his fault than most. But if he at least gave voice to the concerns instead of acting like we're all so crazy for, and like we just don't want to work hard enough, or we just spend too much money on eating things like dinner or whatever, I think
nobody is there to change the course of any of this right now is the point. And that's why so many people are just completely disenfranchised because they're onto the Democrats game. They're onto the Trump's game. It's one party. We don't have a choice. Social issues, we can vote on social issues. And that's kind of how I think a lot of the normie Democrats that I know, they kind of feel stuck on the economic stuff in part.
Yeah.
But they're like social issues, abortion
and LGBTQ rights. Like
and they'll say that and the kids at the border, and they have no idea about the actual stuff at the border. They have no idea that Biden deported more people. They have no idea that Biden
kids are still in cages.
Is rewriting the laws to be even more cruel than Trump was.
Yeah. Had to be stopped by a federal court from saying we don't have to feed the people we're caging. I mean, so knowing the economic despair happening in the country and that this is a huge issue, which is why they've a little bit retired the Bidenomics, catchphrase. This is Biden's brilliant quip. Biden just delivered a line he's been trotting out at private events that someone recently told him he wasn't feeling the benefits of the economy. He was drowning in debt and needed help. I said, I'm sorry, Donald, but I can't help you. Come on, man. Oh my God. It's so disrespectful to all of the people who are just in tremendous pain right now.
Yeah, like, we got the billionaire, suck it Trumpers, and that kind of stuff works on people that just are, their whole identity politically is just orange guy bad. And they want him to suffer. They want the joke to be about him.
Yeah.
They want to look at the people with the MAGA hats and go, they want to drop the R word on the MAGA hat folks so hard.
Yep. And they do. God, I've never seen more liberals when they come out and talk about people in red states. They love using the R word and also telling them how they deserve their poisonous water and air. They shouldn't have voted red. It's vile. Yeah.
I really think the R word use thing is being pushed by the bots on the Democratic side. I really do. I think it's like it's a appeal to the normie guy. Like it makes Democrats look like we're one of you. We dropped the R word, hey, this woke stuff. We're not really woke.
Right.
Maybe
that is it. It's so vile, but maybe you're right.
I mean, I get it from so many of the predictable bots, like if you were really, it's the Democrats don't want to be woke, and wokeness hurts the Democratic Party because if we're woke, then, they got to actually listen to people and conform somewhat to what people think.
They're just regular guys like James Carville. You might be totally right. I think a little bit is it kind of just reveals that they're, you know, sort of like Gen X and a little older Democrats are, back when that wasn't like such a big deal to say that word or something. But I don't know. But I mean, maybe you're right. You know,
and we stay on this theme of me being right, because I just realized we figured out that I am the older of the two of us, making me the older and wiser and right again. So let's just.
All right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's something I'll cop to. You're way older than I am, for sure. For sure.
You know, let me.
So that, you know, again, like here is Mother Jones, I'm sure turning in her grave. RFK Jr., Jill Stein, Cornel West, none of them stand a chance. Look at that, even with the grammatical error, none of them stands a chance of becoming president, but they could play a key role in restoring Donald Trump to the White House. I mean, there's your democracy.
Yeah.
There it is.
Anyone not picking one of the two choices that everybody fucking hates.
Yep.
Those are the people that are the problem. And again, if you want somebody better on Palestine, run your own candidate.
Yeah. Don't do those protests that are so inconvenient for everybody.
And stop protesting. Yes.
Stop protesting.
Stop all of that.
The other thing that's happening right now in Donald Trump world, which is fascinating, what the libs are trying to make of it, is the Stormy Daniels trial. I guess, is that the only one that is definitely happening before the election? I think so. Yes. Yeah.
The outcome, we should know the outcome of that one before the election.
Okay. So first, you know, there was a big like haha moment with Jake Tapper. He had Maggie Haberman from the New York Times on, and she had been writing notes about what she was seeing in the trial. I guess it's not televised. And she wrote something about Trump falling asleep, and he really wanted to press her on that, you know, like, whoa, what do you mean? And she's like, well, he was sleeping. Like, but he's trying to make a big deal about it because the only other leader of the free world who's ever fallen asleep in public at an important event is Joe Biden. I don't think that Trump is at the same point of sundowning as Biden, as hard as they try to make that happen.
Exactly.
But
look, make the argument. I mean, look, if he fell asleep, it's interesting. It's salacious or whatever, but it also doesn't hurt his case in a way. Like,
it's like, I don't give a fuck
it's
about
all ridiculous, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you know, Biden has he's fallen asleep on the interview with the one-on-one with I believe it was a Japanese president, prime minister. A
climate change, like the international convention with, I think, the G20 or something, like fell asleep. I mean,
all the time.
Yeah.
And
it falls off the stage.
That's not the end of the world to me. Like, honestly, like if you're old and you travel and the schedule, it doesn't matter. But the fact that when Trump might have possibly fallen asleep at something, which if he did, only proves he didn't give that shit much of a shit about. Like, it's just such a
that matters less than like not caring about climate change.
Yeah. To then equate that he's an old crazy bastard like Biden he's just a crazy bastard, but he's not an old deluded.
He's not at the same level. Yeah, exactly. It's just sort of grasping for straws. But so the other thing is, so just as a reminder for those of you who also fell asleep during this whole part of Trump world, as he started doing well in 2016, it came out, his staff realized that he had an extramarital affair. I think it was when Melania was even pregnant, but with this porn star, Stormy Daniels, and they did a catch and kill, right? They paid her $130,000, or Michael Cohen paid her $130,000 to go away and not talk to the press. And
and the catch and kill, the way they do it legally, although it's technically illegal because of the campaign finance part of it. But what they do is they purchase the rights to the story. So we have exclusive rights. You can't release any of this information that has happened. It's not a real technical gag order. It's just a way that they operate with journalism.
Right. Exactly. So, but then he paid back Michael Cohen that money, but then used campaign funds to pay himself back. So, you know, it's a campaign finance violation.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the FCC or FEC it is an unmanned institution. They have been toothless for years. They don't enforce anything. There are no regulations on this stuff. We tried all we could to get them to investigate Hillary's. I mean, when you couldn't even investigate her Clinton initiative and all the access that was being bought, then they had
the global, the Clinton global
CGI. Yeah. But so it doesn't exist. But, you know, in this case, it's like, wow.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's the one part of it. Then the other part, and so this is from the New Yorker, right? So here come those glasses again. The Stormy Daniels case, the first criminal trial of a former president in American history, is about much more than hush money. So this is what they're going to say. Would Trump have lost the 2016 presidential election if Stormy Daniels had gone public with her story? Prosecutors in Manhattan think maybe so. Sorry, I bit my tongue and I keep biting on it. It's swollen. I'm a mess, you guys. Oh my God. This question is at the heart of this week's criminal trial against Trump, the first against a former president. Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Okay. Basically, I'll just continue reading, which the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, claims was part of a scheme to conceal damaging information and unlawful activity from American voters before and after the 2016 election. The case has become known as the Stormy Daniels hush money case, which has made it easier for the public to dismiss because it seems like small potatoes. In fact, the argument that the prosecutors have made in court filings is focused on something closer to election interference. The case is about Trump lying his way into office.
Yes.
So, I get what they're saying. But we have a more recent case of something like that happening where the candidate didn't have to spend $130,000 because everybody in corporate media and 48 former FBI employees, intelligence officials, signed on to a letter outlining their belief that the recent disclosure of emails allegedly belonging to Joe Biden's son has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. So that came out, that letter signed by 50 former FBI officials in October of 2020, because they had just found the guy with the laptop had come forward and there were all these, sort of incriminating, giving money to the big guy, is the big guy there, all these, like $1 million deals, right?
And let's not forget that this involved Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's critical stuff since we're at war, defending Ukraine.
Exactly.
Corruption.
So you have that is election interference, especially when it's been revealed. Oh boy, here they come, the readers. The same FBI personnel who were warning social media companies about a potential Russian hack and leak operation in the run-up to the 2020 election knew that the laptop belonging to Hunter Biden was not Russian disinformation. So
let's weigh those two. All right. Silencing a sex story.
Right.
First off, nobody can talk about Kamala's history with sex stuff because it's sexist, right? And I keep trying to every week I keep trying to get a green light from Lila so I can go there, but she won't.
You can talk about Mayor Brown all you want.
But we're talking about sex stuff more or less, right?
Right.
I mean, granted,
infidelity, not like national security or war.
Right.
Yeah.
But the use of funds is
right.
It should be a reasonable thing. But like to compare the use of the federal government and the FBI to have 50 FBI agents sign on to something that they knew was false. Like this is another level. Like that's, you don't want to tit for tat this stuff, but like if you're a Republican and you see your guy going to possibly jail over silencing a sex worker versus this guy got 50 FBI people to lie about Hunter Biden, so it just bolsters their case. If you're a Republican, you're like, I'm leaning into this because everyone's against us. This is all phony. And they're right that the mainstream media with CNN and MSNBC are never going to give the real truth to this story because they are doing propaganda. So that makes them more likely to just listen to Tucker Carlson and all the wackos that are on the right with a lot of bullshit, but then occasionally give them the truth that they can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly dispiriting because you can't talk, like nobody talks about that. And in fact, the piece that I don't know if we'll end up talking about, but by the editor, one of the editors at NPR that he just wrote, and now he's resigned, but basically saying that NPR has lied. They've sort of just become, sycophants of the Democratic Party, and they lied about the Hunter Biden story. They lied about Russiagate, high strike. They've or at least withheld information or pushed certain stories that then when it turns out that they were wrong, they just move on and don't go back and correct it, right? Anybody can get something wrong, but then you make an apology and a retraction and you explain, and they just haven't talked about it. I mean, they said, we're not going to address the Hunter Biden laptop because we think it's disinformation and it's not pertinent to this election. They said that, and they never went back to correct it.
Well, it's the Russian misinformation piece that like they want that narrative to live on forever.
Yeah.
You put that out front and it still works. They still use it against Jill Stein. You know, she had dinner with people from Russia once.
Oh God,
and Flynn was there too, though. You know, I mean, there's and you got a million of those with Hillary. But the point is the Russian misinformation stuff. Yeah, Russia's trying to tweak our politics with propaganda. Right. We do it to other countries.
Yeah.
But all the studies after the fact showed it had no effect. Like the real stuff, looking at it.
You mean the Bernie cartoons, the sexy Bernie cartoons?
Yeah, the sexy Bernie coloring book, buffed Bernie. It had no effect. But people never heard the actual facts after the fact about that wasn't a big deal. Sorry about the hyping headlines we put out intentionally for months and months, especially right around the election.
That Hillary paid. Like, she paid.
Oh, they planted these
Christopher Steele, to do that research or CrowdStrike or what was that, CrowdStrike, and then plant the stories and say, oh, we're here, tell the FBI we're hearing this, and the FBI says, oh, we're hearing this, and then they can cite that the FBI and 17 different agencies are all in agreement, and the system is so massively corrupt, which I think is also part of the reason that this is the one that is taking hold, because it's the one that is least like how most of the other people are corrupt at a much higher level, right? Like, listen, Trump, you could have impeached him, I think, just for assassinating Soleimani. Like, you're not allowed to do that without some kind of approval, congressional approval, like strike on on a sovereign nation like that, right? There were things that he did that they absolutely could have taken him down for, and they just they won't, because it would incriminate them also. So
all the actual foreign policy stuff, all the things that we actually care about,
the financial stuff,
but they can get them for
because they think it's gross. I mean, it's sort of like a social issue, right? It's like he's the grab them by the pussy guy. He's the
guy with the hilarious mushroom dick. Let's not forget the mushroom dick, which is kind of hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
It's kind of hilarious,
But all that stuff is not, But meanwhile, 50 FBI agents knowingly lied for Biden, and that's not gonna.
Nobody's even talking about it.
We're not talking about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. I think, is that enough of the dream team? I mean, do you want to talk about, oh God, I know there's so many other things.
There's too much. I mean, abolishing protests. So this is dangerous shit we're headed into right here.
Yeah.
Supreme Court effectively abolishes the right to protest in 3 states. And I had it written down, but it was Texas.
Yes. So they're not doing, it's DeRay. DeRay McKesson and, where was it? Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. But they've said they're not going to hear that case, which means that it leaves in place the lower court decision. And what that court decision says is that a protest organizer faces potentially ruinous financial consequences if a single attendee at a mass protest commits an illegal act. So nobody's going to want to organize
Yeah.
something if one of 10,000 people might throw a brick through a wall or hurt somebody,
Right.
which, so,
But so
yeah.
as somebody that, knows law, meaning my mom was a judge and I worked in law, but if a ruling is if they don't hear the case, it effectively, like they said, upholds the
right.
lower ruling. So
Yeah.
that is in its essence a ruling. So it's
Yeah.
like, I just don't
Yeah.
want to minimize it. That it's the same
Yes.
effect.
Right.
So
It is the same effect. No, you're absolutely right. And, then people will say, well, see, that's why you should have voted for Hillary in 2016.
right. Who meanwhile, obviously, like all Democrats, are supporting the people on the wrong side of this issue. So like the idea that we
Always.
could just
Yeah.
vote for more of who Hillary says, if we actually voted for who Hillary says, if we voted for who Nancy Pelosi says, we would have abortion rights removed sooner.
Yeah, exactly. And also, there's a whole push now to get Sotomayor to leave the court in the
Right.
next few months, because they know probably Trump is going to win, and then it will really be a stacked court. But that's sexist. That's doing a sexism. That's a misogyny.
Right. Like all the RBJ fanfare was worse than the Bernie coloring books.
Oh my God.
People love RBJ, and she was great on a lot of issues. She was a tough bitch, kind of, that was her.
Yeah.
Her
she was also such a corporatist.
branding.
Yeah.
But she
such
was
a corporatist and didn't have any Black staffers under her during her whole career. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And if you care about democracy, when you're her age, you think of retiring.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Also, yeah.
It's already tainted. You think we would learn the lesson, but like now that they're bringing it up with Sotomayor, it's like, no, it's still sexist. It's still sexist.
For that one woman.
Now it's racist and sexist. Together.
That's right. Bigot. Big bigot.
Double whammy for Democrats. They love that shit.
It's amazing. All right. What do you think? More of this, or should we spin? I think it's time to spin. We've been an hour on this dream team. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
And electoral politics, of all things, to waste an hour.
For God's sake. Yeah. All right, here we go. We're spinning.
Do it.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Puppets.
That's fair. I'm going to have a shot while we do that.
All right, me too. I'm just removing it. Cats are funny. They are funny.
I think I took too much joy from Cat's pain this week because it's
yeah, I know. It's your payback a little bit for
it's
strike.
a little bit of joy every time I see a cat suffering. A little bit, just a little bit of suffering.
All right, moving on to the COVID update. Is that where we are?
Yeah, and we don't have a lot on COVID, but we have some. So
we're in a low transmission rate, which I think those peaks and valleys. The valleys are still higher than the valleys have gotten higher. So even when we're in a valley, we're still higher than we were like for a lot of the pandemic. But okay, 1 in 123 people actively infectious, and take off your masks and enjoy life a little bit. That's what everybody's doing.
I mean, if you think about it, 1 in 123 for a level 3 biohazard that could wreck your life, that we now know is persistent. I mean, the WHO is now will show that, but they're saying they know it's persistent, which means just like AIDS, it doesn't go away when you get rid
in
of
your
your
cells
yeah.
years later. Yeah.
It's persistent for years, possibly forever for some people. They don't know enough about it yet.
Yep.
But 1 in 123 is like, in your day, if you just walk around without a mask and you live a normal kind of life, you go to work, see 20, 30 people, you go to the gas station, you do whatever. That's probably one person you were right up next against every day.
Yep.
Infectious.
Yeah, I know. I'm having a really hard time with my sons who are like, how long are we going to do this for? Yeah. And I don't know what to say because I'm fine doing it forever. I mean, I hate it. I don't like wearing a mask, but I'm fine doing it forever. But I really understand why they're not, you know. And like yesterday, we had to go. Xander's going to prom on Saturday, and I had to go get him a suit. And I was like, "Oh, hey, you got your mask? Let's go." And he was like, "I don't want to wear a mask at the mall." Well, why not? Well, because that's near a high school where he knows a lot of the kids, and he doesn't want kids to see him wearing a mask. And I'm just like, I mean, that's crazy.
It's just everyone has abandoned safety so badly that like the peer pressure of being a high school kid or younger or college, you know, like,
and there's no end in sight. There's no promise of like flatten the curve or we're gonna get there's nothing.
There's no like,
there's
exactly.
No plan.
Like, hey, in 6 months, it won't be like this, guys. This is why I'm doing it. These people who like us and your son who want to be vigilant about this stuff, we can't give people like, oh, I'm just going to be until this.
Yeah.
I'll be safe until X because on X day we have this thing coming.
Yeah.
No,
there's nothing.
Yeah. It's brutal.
It's brutal.
Which is why we have to fight for healthcare. We have to fight for it in the most vulnerable places. That's our fight right now.
That,
in my opinion.
And I do think clean the air. Like, I think that is something we could do.
Schools.
Indoor air could be filtered and cleaned. It really could be. And it would at least reduce between, if we could have healthcare for everybody and we cleaned the air, that would take us quite a bit. Right. But anyway, I guilted him into it. Of course, I won that battle and he wore the mask with me. But you know what, of course, it let me know was that he's not as careful when I'm not around, which really makes me angry. But anyway, I will not air all of our familial fights right now.
Do it. No, just kidding.
But this is this is the thing that's going to happen is employers are going to start feeling frustrated that their workforce is depleted, right? That's why we're inventing AI robots.
So this chart is pulled by an online source that you can put in the numbers and check months and whatever. It's up. That's a current number. Like 2.83 million is 2024 as we speak.
Right.
In there.
Yeah. I actually thought it was higher.
Well, this is the UK, I believe. Sorry.
Oh, why do we have something from the UK?
Well, you see the labor force, like
no, I didn't. I didn't have my readers on.
Oh,
yeah, way down there in the faint gray. Labor. Now I see it. Oh, well, that's actually a huge percentage of their population. Okay, so here's the WHO finally admitting that yes, it is breathable. It comes through the air, but they're going to McKinsey it up. So Blake Murdoch, which I'm sure a lot of you follow him. He's a good COVID guy. Registration page for the upcoming WHO webinar about their new report, which will try to rename airborne transmission so that Great Barrington Declaration adjacent airborne deniers can save face and whitewash history. Launch of WHO Global Technical Consultation report on proposed terminology for pathogens that transmit through the air. I don't know.
Airborne is like really confusing.
It's so confusing.
Airborne. Huh.
There is, all right, here, I'm going to put my glasses on, but because there's a whole McKinsey part down here at the bottom. Yeah. I mean, I don't know definitely that it was written by McKinsey, but it is so, terminology used to describe the transmission of pathogens through the air has varied across scientific disciplines, organizations, and the general public. I don't really even think that's true. To address the situation and agree on shared language, airborne, a global technical consultation gathered input from experts across a range of disciplines and major public health agencies and resulted in a report with updated terminology to describe the transmission of pathogens through the air that can cause infection in humans. I mean, they could have skipped that whole word salad and just said it's airborne.
Well, and what that section is telling you without telling you, if you read between the lines, is a right-wing or a corporate consulting group got together to figure out how to talk to the people in the industry, to use language that people are not going to be scared of and not believe. Like they're going to think this is harmless. You know, that's the whole thing. It's a think tank on how to put this out to the public in a way like, we fucked up, it's airborne. How do we make it so that we didn't really fuck up and then you guys should still go to work?
I mean, aren't they like not liable for anything anymore anyway? Didn't we take away all of the liabilities? Isn't that the whole thing about, you know, taking away the OSHA protections?
Just about all liability is gone.
So like what would happen?
But there are lawsuits in place, but you know, you have to look at the Supreme Court and just the way the courts have been stacked corporately by both parties.
Yeah.
They're stacked against workers and people like us. So we're not going to win in that level. Yeah. Right.
And so just do it, like fix it now.
But when you say lying, like that's the thing when they go out, they're going after Trump for that other stuff for lying. Courts have already declared beyond a shadow of a doubt, politicians can lie in their elections, literally in campaign ads. They can knowingly produce an ad that they know is false.
Yeah. Can doctors and scientists. I mean, there was that when the WHO was first talking about it, and is it Tedros said it's airborne, and then got a really quick talking to. This was in March 2020. And then said, well, no, it's not. Just wash your hands a lot. But I mean, like, they knew it then. They've known for 4 years.
They have known this almost the entire time.
It's got to be cheaper to clean the air than to do what we're doing here. All right.
So, okay, we have one good thing related to this.
No, don't ruin my...
We need to ease our way out of this.
Don't harsh my
well, this is not going to change the world, but and this is another, like, okay, I hate to give AI some credit, but AI can do some good things. So AI is running, they figured out how to use AI to look at lung scans to recognize COVID. So
AI analyzes ultrasound lung images to spot B lines, which appear as bright vertical. All right. That's great.
If they looked like that, I would recognize them. We don't need AI.
Yeah, I know.
We don't need AI.
Do they really need that? Like, I can see it. Look at those bright vertical abnormalities.
That's something I would have made for the show.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of good news. I don't know. Wear a mask, clean the air, ventilate, eat outside.
Yeah. And just if you're going to a hospital morally.
Oh my God. I know.
How is this even a question?
It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. I'm very excited for this here, but I do feel like we need to make an audible. Oh, I didn't take it up. Okay, I'm gonna audible it up. I'm going back and
we're
forth.
Gonna hear here.
A lot of stuff here. I got to take my tongue is so swollen. All right, cheers. Cheers.
Liquor solves all medical injuries. Your tongue will be
able to ignore it. Oh. Are you pushing the button or am I?
I am pushing the button. Here. So do we set this up at all?
No. Here. Barnaby Rain is I adore him. I first saw him on Novara Media. Brilliant, young British
PhD
student at Columbia.
Your alma mater?
My alma mater. And
is this a conflict of interest?
Anti-Zionist Jewish man who speaks brilliantly. So here we go. We both push the button at the same time. I'm going to do it.
The reason is that Israelis know deep down, and I'm speaking here of some of my own family members, so it pains me to say it, but they know deep down that they are living in other people's stolen homes. They know that they are living in a state that was premised on an act of ethnic cleansing when 700,000 Palestinians were driven from their homes. That's why Gaza is so densely populated, because most of the Palestinians living in Gaza aren't from Gaza. They're refugees penned in there because they were chased out of other parts of Israel. And that's why the important thing to do now is not simply to call for peace, not simply to call for the end of this massacre, though that is crucial, but to understand that we want a world in which people don't live penned into an open air prison because they're chased from their homes, to call not simply for peace, but for freedom, and to say when we see people partying at a rave and then being killed by Hamas operatives, that they were partying 5 miles away from an open air prison. If you move 5 miles from where those people were partying in Israel to Gaza, life expectancy drops 10 years. We don't just want peace and the return of a world in which that is the case. We desperately want people all over the world, in our millions, for freedom, for everyone to be able to live a life of freedom and dignity. And that's why we want victory for the Palestinian people. My opposition to the two-state solution, as it's called, is twofold. Firstly, that if it means an Israeli state existing in any part of historic Palestine, it means that those who are ethnically cleansed do not get to return to their homes. And secondly, that it is a utopian lie. A two-state solution is the thing that is spun out by Israel's international supporters all over the world constantly to justify their continued funding for the one-state apartheid reality from the river to the sea. You just saw it today. Joe Biden arrived to talk to Bibi Netanyahu and said in passing, of course, I support a two-state solution, while continuing to fund the state, Israel, which has made absolutely clear that it has no interest in a two-state solution. At every election, the parties that win the election in Israel make very clear that they will not countenance a two-state solution. That's why they're not even engaging in the farce of peace talks anymore. So the Israeli state has no interest in a two-state solution, but it's become an alibi that its global supporters use to shove money at Israel and say, well, of course, we want peace, and these dangerous, fanatical Palestinians don't. The reason Palestinians are troubled by the language of a two-state solution is because Gaza's so densely populated, because it's stuffed full of people who want to return to the villages they were ethnically cleansed from. That's why Palestinians find talk of a two-state solution disturbing. The reason the rest of the world now finds it slightly tiresome is that it's become clear that it's an alibi and not a real solution at all.
He's great. He speaks so eloquently, and every time they have him on Navarre Media, he kind of shows up all the more wishy-washy hosts. There are a couple of them that aren't great. Just wanted to thank you, Oz. Bidenomics is destined to be a swear word at the rate it's going. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Oz the Boomer. Very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Love that dog too. He's got some.
Yeah, I know.
He or she.
Yeah, and I think this is really true. Palestine stands for all inequality and empire. It's why it resonates so strongly everywhere. I think that's really true. And there is so much crossover. We know that our police are trained with the IDF, and they're all part of their own one big party. All the people who subjugate and oppress and occupy.
And for the world, it exemplifies what they've known for a long time about the U.S. being bullies. And they know that this war doesn't continue without the U.S. support. And, they follow U.S. media closer than we follow U.S. media, honestly, in a lot of these countries.
Yeah.
And they see, how lied to we are. And they're more in touch with how propagandized we are than we are.
Absolutely. I mean, well, I know we're going to get to that resolution condemning anti-Semitism from the river to the sea, but boy, the responses I got, in addition to being called a capo cunt, I love saying that, the KK capo cunt, just like massive ignorance, honestly. It's really hard to deal with because it's like, then you have to go back for a history lesson every time you have a conversation. And honestly, on some level, that's got to be part of the objective, right? It's just like time vampire. They're wearing us down and sucking up our energy.
I mean, they are. There's no doubt about it. Somebody struggling through life or just even doing well in life, but either way, it's so hard to follow this stuff closely. It's easy to tap out. It's draining.
Yeah.
The bots are online to just gaslight people into thinking you're the radical, crazy people. But the world has woken up. The US has woken up. People see this as it is. It's really a clear-cut moral right and wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. There's nothing complicated about it. All right, moving on. What do we got? Oh, well, look at that. That brings us right into unprecedented. Unprecedented. Not sure if any of you had the good fortune of watching CNN live on your flight, but boy, did they get the talking points. There was just a lot of talk about Iran's response, which they didn't even talk about as a response for the most part. It was like it happened out of the blue. Iran just started bombing Israel in this unprecedented assault. It was crazy.
Completely unprecedented assault. Like unprovoked. It was both those. It was unprovoked and unprecedented. First off, clearly provoked, just like Hamas was clearly provoked. Israel broke the peace agreement. There was almost a 1 year, not peace agreement, but ceasefire. There was a 1 year ceasefire broken by Israel, admitted by Israel to having broken it, which is to get them to admit anything is crazy, but they admit that they broke the ceasefire that led to Hamas,
Yeah, they broke it. They had already, I think, 2023 before October 7th was already the deadliest year in the West Bank. No Hamas in the West Bank. And they had already killed hundreds of people in the West Bank. So obviously we know that was it a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Israel bombed the Iranian embassy in Damascus and killed some high up generals, workers, I think 17 people.
Which is the clearest violation of international law. Like,
the Vienna Convention. That's like that's part of a sovereign nation.
It's not remotely debatable. You can't. Israel admitted to doing it. It is by all measures against international law to bomb an embassy. That is the point of having embassies in other countries. The safety. It's a safe haven in the crazy world.
That's right.
And here we are just supporting it and not even saying anything negative from our government about them committing that act, and then ignoring it and saying unprovoked
and unprecedented, the response. And meanwhile, so first there was a whole conversation where Iran and the US basically figured out like where the best locations would be. There was a warning. Everybody knew it was going to happen. So 300 bombs and rockets come over the Iron Dome, and $1 billion US taxpayer dollars help bring down all those bombs. Nobody gets hurt.
$1 billion.
$1 billion. And by the way,
and like you said, though, it was they warned them it's coming. They gave them the targets, the whole shebang.
It was completely coordinated.
It was a
show of force. Like, we're not going to just take it. You're not allowed to bomb our consulate.
We have to do something.
Yeah.
How could you not respond to your embassy being bombed?
I mean, imagine what we would do.
The embassy in your country being bombed. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, so we have the capability of shooting down bombs and rockets. We can stop it. We just don't do it when those bombs are coming from Israel into Palestine. Like, that's got to also really resonate with people, that 40,000 people at least have been massacred, and we could have stopped it. But anyway, do you want to hear what David Cameron or Tony Blinken think about it?
To mock them, yes, let's do it.
Yeah. All right, I'll start with Mr. Blinken, your favorite and mine.
As you know, Iran launched hundreds of missiles and drones against Israel. This was an attack unprecedented in its scope and in its scale. In its scope, because it represented the first direct attack by Iran on Israel, And its scale, because, as I said, there were more than 300 munitions fired, including ballistic missiles, as well as land attack cruise missiles and drones. Thanks to Israeli air defenses, as well as support from other countries, including U.S. military assets, virtually all of the incoming projectiles were destroyed and shot down. As President Biden underscored to Prime Minister Netanyahu, the U.S. is committed to Israel's defense. And I think what this weekend demonstrated is that Israel did not have to and does not have to defend itself alone when it is the victim of an aggression, the victim of an attack. In the 36 hours since, we have been coordinating a diplomatic response to seek to prevent escalation. Strength and wisdom need to be the same sides, the different sides of the same coin. I've been in close communication with counterparts in the region, and we will continue to do so in the hours and days ahead. We don't seek escalation, but we'll continue to support the defense of Israel and to protect our personnel in the region.
Oh,
why do we even have people in the region? Like, why are, because we're stealing their water, their oil. Also, like, that's more of a solemn response for 300 bombs that didn't hurt a person being lobbed there than, like, I don't know. It's just all so vile. But
honestly, like, he was hiding his joy. Like, that was his sincere acting, because the people who prop his ass up could not be happier that the U.S. just spent $1 billion on that shit. Like, the military industrial complex is like, holy shit, we got away with $1 billion, no deaths. We get to look like the heroes. For our
JP Morgan like pushed up Lockheed Martin.
Oh yeah.
What was it? It was this thing here. Upgrades Lockheed Martin stock after Iran strikes on Israel. Let's go. It's good business. War is a racket.
And all for a response that didn't have to happen, that they really, I mean, I don't want to say Iran wasn't trying to hurt people, because you launch these bombs, you're trying to hurt people, but like, they're very aware of the situation with the defense system that Israel has.
Right.
And they gave them warning. They understand it all, but they are pressured to respond militarily. Iran does not want to escalate this war.
Right.
But what can they do?
But Israel does.
Yeah. Israel is the one provoking this whole thing.
Yeah. And they're already saying that they're going to retaliate. I don't know if you saw, because we were like prepping and running around right before the show. I slid into my chair like 2 minutes before we started. But Hezbollah just struck Israel today. And they used some suicide drones that blew up the Iron Dome parts like in that area. So they weren't detected. They actually did do some damage, and they did injure some people. But this is scary. Nobody is safer when this happens. Like, and most Israelis who do have bunkers or have some sort of safety system were given a warning and went into those bunkers. And I saw something about like hundreds of thousands of Israelis need therapy now for the trauma of what's been happening since October 7th, which, listen, I'm sure that's right. I would too, but I haven't seen a single thing from corporate media about, like, I don't even know how anybody in Palestine recovers ever from this, ever.
So we didn't even pull the story. You and I never even talked about it, but Israel put out another false story about 50 people that were at the concert killed themselves.
Oh yeah, the
mental illness.
Yeah,
and it turns out that's
total lie.
Always is total lie, based on somebody who retracted what they said. It's nonsense. There's no evidence of it. At least there's no evidence.
Right.
Now, granted, it was a traumatic event.
Right.
Who knows?
When your own IDF soldiers are blowing you up. No, I'm kidding.
Right. But some of these people, if there are suicides, there's probably a piece of that, to where these people are just so distraught at their government and their world, and
Yeah.
they're realizing for the first time, oh, we
We're not
were
safe.
having this crazy rave party 2 miles away from people
A
living
concentration camp. Yeah.
in concentration camps, and
Yeah.
and then our own copters are firing on us, and
Yeah.
now because of that, I'm more aware of all the other things being pointed out about my own government, and just the the survivor guilt, and all that merges together. But like, Israel, as always, puts out this story that 50 people here killed
Like,
themselves
hypes it up
because
even
of
more.
Hamas.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Which thing are we going to go with? The AIPAC politicians. There's a new, maybe has been around for a while, but Track AIPAC. These are the millionaire club of people who benefit from the Israel lobby.
And I see 2 standouts on that list for us.
Yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries, obviously, head of the
Bob
DNC.
Menendez is Democrat. Chuck Schumer.
Oh,
is that what you're doing? No. Right?
Yeah, no. So 4 that
Wait,
are
Steny Hoyer is a Democrat. Josh Gottheimer, Democrat. Hakeem Jeffries, Ron Wyden, Democrat. Richie Torres. Sorry, do you want me to stop talking? Go ahead. I'm going to let you talk.
Nope, I refuse. Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democratic Party. Obviously, Chuck Schumer, leader of the Senate, Democrat.
Oh, big progressive Chantel Brown.
Chantel Brown stood out to me because, she ran against Nina Turner and was the most unprogressive person on earth. And
AIPAC came in and they ran that dirty campaign, and then against
and they've pledged $100 million against any
progressives. And you don't even have to be like pro-Palestine. You just have to be progressive, because they know that you could be swayed. If you care about human people, you might be swayed to care about Palestinians. Anyway, that's disgusting. This guy's not on the list, but he might as well be. I don't know who needs to hear this, but blocking a bridge or berating folks in Starbucks isn't righteous. It just makes you an asshole. Demand Hamas to send every hostage back home and surrender. And again, nobody talks about all the Palestinian hostages. Over 3,000 have been taken since October 7th. Over 3,000.
Yeah. And regardless of all that, let's say he's true. He's accurate. Like, I mean, he's being sincere, right? He's not, but like,
right.
How do Palestinians demand Hamas give back the hostages? How does that happen? How do they say, hey, Hamas, I mean, we don't have telephones. We're starving to death over here, but you guys who are scattered all over, and there are only a few of you around, give back the hostages. Like, it's untenable. It can't happen. Like, there's no mechanism for any of this to happen. You're blaming civilians for the worst people, if they are the worst, but it's not the citizens. Like, this is such a common humane, like, the laws about war are written to exclude acting like he's saying you should act.
Right.
You can't blame citizens for.
You're not supposed to do collective punishment.
Punishment. Thank you.
Right. But like, there has been and it's the same thing that liberals do about red states, right? Well, then vote them out. Vote them out. If you want to have clean water, vote them out. If you want good public education,
Kentucky, you all have poisoned water.
Yeah.
Shouldn't vote for
Don't vote red. Republicans. Looks like your state's red. And it doesn't matter that, like, when you look, it's often like, 49, 51%. It doesn't matter that we had, Trump, who they all hate, for 4 years. Why didn't they vote harder against him? Right? Like, they never extend that logic. But
our whole country should be wiped off the planet because we voted for Trump. We should all be
George
nuked.
W. twice.
If Russia came in and just killed us all, if we didn't, get rid of Trump, why didn't you kill Trump? We should have all killed Trump or something,
It makes Osama bin Laden justified, right, in bombing the World Trade Center, because we shouldn't have Wall Street acting the way it is. We shouldn't be supporting Israel's occupation. I mean, there's a million reasons that you could extend that logic to places that would feel very uncomfortable for the people who love to talk about it from the comfort and privilege of, their.
You said that, so I feel like the dumber I sound brings out the intelligence in you.
Oh, stop it. I keep fighting
love
my
it.
tongue.
No, I love
well,
it. When every time I'm like, and you're like collective punishment. I'm like, that's what I was rambling about for 30 seconds. I couldn't get to, and then you crush it. So
look at that. Thank
I'm
you
just
for
setting
saying
you
that.
up.
I
That's what I'm here for.
need that. I need
I'm
it
here for
today, especially. Okay. New House bill for those of you who don't have Medicare for all or a good public school system or are deep in debt. Don't worry. House Republicans put forward $60 billion for Ukraine, $26 billion for Israel, up from $14 billion that Biden wanted, $8 billion for Taiwan, because we got to get that China war going, and other Asia spending, a TikTok ban, and a bill to steal Russian assets. I mean,
let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do this thing.
Go. Yeah. And by the way,
I feel a lot safer.
Yeah. Feel a lot safer. We are also using this as a wonderful excuse to impose sanctions on Iran again. Again, like Israel attacked them first. Israel killed their people at a consulate in Damascus.
And you will not hear CNN or MSNBC mention that fact at all.
Nope.
It's just like literally, look what Iran just did.
Look what they did. And they're saying like, oh, and you know, Hezbollah and Iran and Lebanon, and they're all funding Hamas. They don't talk about the fact that Bibi Netanyahu also funding Hamas. And actually in October, like just weeks before October 7th, spoke to his people, whatever, in Qatar and asked them to continue funding Hamas. They want war. Like they want to get rid of Palestinians and they do want war. It makes a lot of people very wealthy. Those people are vile and repugnant, but I am so used to that warped logic. The one that we talk about so often, how most Zionists aren't even Jewish, which is true. But this today, many people make it sound as if the apocalyptic version of Christian Zionist support of Israel is purely theoretical and that the support itself is practical. But here come the glasses. This is a perfect example of how none of it is theory. They are pushing for a literal apocalyptic war now. Pastor John Hagee, remember him, this AM says Iran's missiles are the prophetic start of the Gog and Magog. I don't even know. Gog and Magog war from the Bible.
Gog and Magog.
Yeah. That ends with Jesus returning and Jews killed or converted. Says he will travel to DC to lobby lawmakers not to de-escalate and to support Israel. He asks for some money.
All of that is so wild to me that like U.S. Christians are on board with Israel because of the apocalypse, which is going to kill all the Jews.
Yeah. They're our best friends.
It's
the Christian nationalists. They're the best.
It's wild. And Democrats are well, Democrats should be on the clear side of this. Like, progressives should be on the clear side of this. Like, don't get your religious shit out of this.
Yeah.
The end of time stuff is no reason to
Armageddon, baby.
Once you bring that up, I'm gone and I fucking hate you. And I want you to.
Oh, no. I mean, they brought him to the stand with Israel big rally in like November or December. Remember, he was a speaker there. And just as a reminder, this is one of the things he said. He suggested the Holocaust was God's punishment against disobedient Jews and has said that the Antichrist will be partially Jewish, as was Adolf Hitler. Right. And he took the stage at the March for Israel in November. And Mehdi Hassan says, not just anti-Semitic, he's Islamophobic too, has suggested, among other things, that Islam not only condones violence, it commands it. But the Democrats who shared a platform, they like held his hand.
Our politics are so fucked that like the MAGA folks, like a lot of them don't, the racist piece of them,
right,
don't know how to handle all this because they've hated Jews their entire life. They're like brainwashed to hate Jews.
Yeah.
But now we got to support Israel so that we could eventually hate them again at the end. And,
it is so warped. And, it's like, I do think so much of it is when you don't have a clear ideology, when the U.S., encouraged and actually forbade a peace process between Ukraine and Russia. And then, you know, I started sending them articles like, we are funding far-right neo-Nazis in Ukraine. We've been doing that since 2014 when we helped overthrow their government. And people would say, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, I don't know. If the enemy of my enemy is a fucking Nazi, I've got two enemies. Like, I don't even know. Like, there's no world in which I'm like, no, me and the Nazis are going to team up now. What's worse than that? Which is why they keep saying Putin's worse than Hitler, right?
Well, and you and I went to, I mean, the podcasting left class is a mix of people that care, a mix of people trying to promote themselves and make a life out of it. Some of them care, some of them don't.
Right.
But like a lot of the bullshit artists bought into this work with the right stuff. That was this, you know, what was the red, what do they call it? The Red
Brown Alliance.
Red Brown Alliance.
MAGA communism.
MAGA communism, like the Jackson Hinkle, like the worst of the most obvious bullshit artists.
Boucher, somebody, but like, I don't even know him.
You know, there was the podcasting class that was really like in bed with him, and he was like above them a little bit, so they all latched onto him,
right?
And they all latched on the door, and it's this ecosystem of like, get on bigger shows so you get a bigger audience and appeal to their audience. But anyway, the point is, Lila and I went on some of these shows and got shit on because we were against all this alliance with the people on the right. And honestly, fuck them. Like,
they were wrong. They were totally wrong about all of it. We were right. I mean,
you don't want those people in your ranks. You are dismissing so many people that would support your cause by bringing them into your cause.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. Anyway,
and you know, you're right. And you know, I always feel weird going back to Bernie because I know that we're sort of all, you know, done with Bernie or whatever. Anyway, but, you know, he got a lot of flack for going on Joe Rogan, going on Fox, but he didn't go on and kowtow to them and be like, you're right, we should throw out the people on the border, or you're right, like, we don't need to be hampered by trans people and like,
woke stuff.
Yeah, he didn't do any of that. He went on and he did his same, you know, 10 issues that he's been talking about for 40 years. And at the end, they gave him a standing ovation and were like, and Joe Rogan was like, yeah, I think I'm going to vote for you. Like, that's different from coordinating and, you know, doing like organizing with far right people. If they happen to attend your event and you can sway them because you're being persuasive with, you know, your ideology. This is just,
it's different than platforming somebody who has views that want some of your audience members killed.
Yeah, like, that they're fine.
Not rocket science.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they want to support the cause, great. That is entirely different than like, hey, let's all meet in a room and talk and work it out. And I'll make you okay with
reach over the aisle with them.
Make me okay with your people, and we'll just you know, grow that way. Like, that's not going to happen because you're going to tell most of my people who are more passive, or not passive is not the right word, but more peaceful in nature, we're going to join with the people with the guns.
Yep.
And who's going to win that fight in the end? The people with the guns.
Yep. Well, and also it's really interesting because the same thing happens. It happens with the Democratic Party and their left base versus the Democratic Party, and constantly compromising with the Republican Party and talking about how we need a strong Republican Party. No, we don't. I wish the Republican Party would fall off the face of the earth, and most Democrats too. Like, I don't need a strong fascist party. What are you talking about? Why would you need that? And while you're doing that, because there's not infinity time or ability to do things with everybody, you are ignoring, or usually much worse, absolutely destroying the people who you're supposed to be fighting for. So, yeah.
Right. And if your solidarity includes not pointing out the massive flaws of the person you're partnering with, you are normalizing their views.
That's right. Yeah. Which is,
All right. Anyway, on that Israel note, what do we got? What else do we got? So,
well, they did just pass this resolution, this very important resolution, while, you know, a genocide is happening and we're sanctioning Iran for responding to a violation of the Vienna Convention. This is what the House did was, I think this was yesterday, the 16th. Yeah. Passed a resolution that the slogan "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free" is anti-Semitic and its use must be condemned. Important matters at hand.
Wow. Over 1 million, probably 2 million people in Palestine are starving. I mean, we have death totals around 40,000 official, but like, let's talk about what's really going on with all the kids starving there.
Yeah. They just shot up a playground. I froze. I'm headed out. You might want to play a fun timeline fun. Sorry, guys.
No, keep that. I love that froze
Yeah, it's
picture.
really good.
It's like
my red
head
nose.
Scratching.
It's
you look like you have a huge hand, which you don't, by the way.
It does look really big. It's weird perspective.
Wait, what was that TV show with the guy with the fake hand? Arrested Development.
Right. With yeah.
It was Arrested Development. It was also Sunny in Philadelphia. The guy, the lawyer with the fake hand. Anyway, I'm gonna play a little video until Lila comes back.
I'll be back.
Because we need some joy in our life anyway. This is the we already showed her once, but I think she's kind of funny. So here's some more bathroom stall humor.
Girl, keep your head up, live by your own standards. You're amazing, just as you are. Love as if you never get good scared. You'll always be good enough. You'll never be beyond not the truth. A bit sick, and you know it. The next don't be a cigarette. And if you think you're a cowboy dick, he's got spurs. I love him so much. I love him so much, I want him to stop smoking. So he can live a long and healthy life.
I came back just in time. Oh, and it didn't make me crazy pasty white. I thought it was gonna.
You missed dick humor. I mean,
I miss really good humor. I am catching Cora's great comment though. Thank you. And also I just want to thank a few more. You guys are so amazing. Cora, thank you. I love being in this echo chamber where everyone has a conscious. Me too. Solidarity, friends. Absolutely. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Kimmy. You guys are so sweet. Solidarity right back at you. Reflect the sun. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Cora,
Seriously.
Kimmy, Reflect the Sun.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to all of you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. We are moving on. Oh, wait. Oh, we're still on Israel. Oh my God.
Okay, so the only thing on it, there's plenty to talk about, but I think this is an important piece to it that we shouldn't leave out today.
Yeah.
This just broke before the show started. Leaked cables show the White House opposes Palestinian statehood. Despite Biden's pledge to support a two-state solution, cables argue that Palestine should not be granted UN member status.
God.
And
that is so vile. He talks about it all the time. Most people don't even think there should be a two-state solution anymore. They think there should be a one-state solution. And he's stuck in the past, but he's not even stuck in the past. He's just a pathological evil liar.
Right. But they're telling all their diplomats, it remains the U.S. view that the most expeditious path toward a political horizon for the Palestinian people is in the context of a normalization agreement between Israel and its neighbors. We believe this approach can tangibly advance Palestinian goals in a meaningful and enduring way.
Liars. Because that's a lot of the reason that October 7th happened was because they were normalizing relationship with the rest of the countries in the Middle East and completely bypassing Palestine.
And so they're selling the US and, the public and diplomats and anyone getting these cables, this idea that, we have a better thing coming than actually making Palestine a free state, when without the force of the UN saying we recognize statehood, any agreement, like they're depending on Israel and Palestine working out a two-state solution versus the world saying we recognize that country, you guys must come to a two-state solution. And there's no solution. So here's another piece of it. The U.S. position is that the Palestinian state should be based on bilateral agreements between Israelis and the Palestinians. It does not believe that the UN can create that state by fiat.
Yeah, but they have a lot of faith that the occupying force
committing genocide
is
clearly
reach some kind of agreement and give them freedom, liberation, rights.
The country literally saying we don't believe in a two-state solution is the US's only plan to achieve this two-state solution.
Or one state. I don't even know it because they're I mean, they don't even want a two-state solution, but giving them anything that would be a dignified life with their right to self-determination. That's the whole deal. And that is absolutely what they don't want to have happen. That is so vile. I mean,
I think you should get the wheel up while I talk and distract people.
All right. Sorry. I know that's what I was supposed to do. I did.
So in third grade, let me tell you about my
go.
Palestinian friend, and I saved him from
that.
Anyway,
Look at that. I did it. I pushed.
All right, we're moving on from Israel. Although we could talk about that forever.
Well, on Friday we do have a show on Sunday, and I think that will be more of like a commentary on media. We saw, I think that NPR article and also the expose by The Intercept on all of the words that the memo that was leaked by the New York Times memo that was leaked, where writers are told which words they have to avoid.
Yeah, so you want to make that our show? Let's make that our show.
We're not going to. Yeah, there's a lot.
We'll wing it. Who knows?
We'll wing it. We'll give you a glimpse into what it might be, and then we'll change our minds on Sunday.
Or it could just be an hour of cat videos.
There you go. Okay, I'm gonna spin.
Yeah, we're gonna have internal fights over this.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do for the next 4 days. Oh my God! Thank goodness. Jeez. That's the first time we've landed on it, right?
Is it? Yeah, you forced one. But
yeah. All right. And then wait, should I spin and then pour one? I'm gonna spin again.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna pour a big one. Wait a second. Oh my God.
Here as well.
I'm gonna do two, but wait, I'm spinning it again so you guys don't just have to watch us drink. Okay, here we go. Oh, and I didn't take here off, so that was my fault.
Yeah, baby.
We'll pretend it's a shot. No way.
But now you can take it off.
God, all right. Remove. Sorry, it's going slow over here. All right.
Yeah, baby.
Did you do our last time on?
Probably. Did I? Was that a backup time? No. Oh yeah, I have a time on class.
Okay, we have another one. Okay, good. I'm taking it.
Hello, motherfucker. Fuck. Oh fuck. Hello.
Hello.
Bitch.
No. Jenny, what are you?
A bitch.
Oh yeah? What?
A baby.
Where
you going? Take a shit.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Is he here? Okay.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Everybody.
Oh shit.
No. Training myself.
What the fuck?
What did you say?
I said, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I'm glad you're recording.
I love that one. That's my favorite one yet.
So my nephews all said shit. Oh shit. Like, what was the God damn it, I've already forgot. My memory is so shit, and I have too many triples. But rat bastard, because I used to say that.
Oh, that's funny.
But like, that's not the worst. But
that's not the worst. But it's funny. It's like an older person,
3 or 4 years old. They were both rat bastard.
That's cute. So. I like it. I like having kids swear. I think it's important.
Yes. It's my job in the world.
Oh my goodness. Okay, where are we? I'm coming back up to this guide. We are
worst of the week.
Yeah, worst of the week. I think we're going to screw the economy.
There were so many options.
There's always so many options. This one makes me a little uncomfortable just because
So I'm just going to put this out there.
Yeah, you start it. Go ahead.
Look, Lila and I agree on politics mostly 100%. I mean, 99.9. It's just where we target our anger. And she doesn't disagree with me on this, but I chose this guy because I feel like there are worse people in the world, but to sell out your side of the party, to sell out, to constantly be on TV explaining why shit policies are not bad by Democrats when you were sold to the world as this progressive guy.
Yeah.
I have a real problem with Ro Khanna.
I agree. I do agree. I agree. And so what prompted it were two things that happened yesterday, which were he voted for that resolution to say that from the river to the sea is anti-Semitic, which is disgraceful. I mean, it's honestly disgraceful. It's not anti-Semitic. It's, that is, by the way, in the Likud charter. It's Netanyahu says it. His son says it. So, I mean, I guess on some level, it is proof that it's genocidal. But there's only one group of people that actually has the power to commit a genocide. And most people who are saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, truly want equality and liberation for a group of people who have been completely occupied and subjugated for 75 years.
To vote for this right now in the face of starving kids and giving them weapons and supporting all of it, this is what's important to you. This tells me you are beholden to AIPAC. This tells me at the very least you are too scared to be honest.
Yep.
And Ro Khanna is such a fucking tech bro piece of shit. Like people really think he cares about Medicare for all and lefty stuff. Don't forget when he was Bernie's spokesman, even at the height of Bernie's career, he went on TV and sort of tanked him a little bit. Like,
well, we'll have to compromise. We might not get exactly what we want.
He didn't sink him entirely, but at that time, Bernie was pitching Medicare for all or bust. It was like we aren't taking excuses to not pass Medicare for all.
Right.
And Ro Khanna, as one of his chief architects of his television stuff, he was the, give me the word here. Save me, Lila.
Sorry, I was reading comments. I wasn't even listening to you.
But that's fair. That makes you more intelligent. You are so smart. I would not listen to me either. He was one of his campaign chairs, right? So he's on TV, and at that time, the left was really behind him pushing Medicare for all. There's no compromise to Medicare for all, and literally, Ro Khanna went on TV and said, "I would compromise the Medicare for all. Elizabeth Warren's plan is not bad." Blah blah. He sold out. He sold the enthusiasm out, and it gave permission for people that were on board with people. It gave permission for centrists to go, you know what? We don't have to be all in on Medicare for all.
One of the chairs of the whole campaign is saying that we don't need Medicare for all, right? Yeah, it gave an excuse. It is such a betrayal. Yes, and I think Adria pointed out he also did vote for the resolution against socialism, right? What was the exact word? Denouncing the horrors of socialism. I'm thinking the Byrne identity. For putting some of this together today.
We stole a lot from her.
Yeah, we stole a lot from her.
The funny thing is, we stole separately. We always put our clips, and we're like, what do you want to put? In, like,
we both have the same one. And then,
I've met her in the real world. We're friends.
She's up in San Francisco. She's in the tech world, right? She's up in the.
I met her in San Francisco at
Silicon Valley area. Oh, okay.
So,
all right. And okay, here's the other thing. He endorsed this guy, David Trone, who David Sirota just wrote a big piece on. Not only does he get AIPAC money, he raises money for AIPAC.
Yeah.
Like tens of millions of dollars.
Second degree evil right there. And here's tech bro, lefty progressive guy, Ro Khanna.
And by the way, that Trone guy puts in his little, bio that he's a progressive too. I mean, whatever. The word has no meaning anymore. It's like liberal, or it does have a meaning, and it's the Chantel Browns of the world get to call themselves progressive. That's really disappointing. And listen, I don't think that there's a way to walk away from this. So this is Unusual Whales. I'm sure most of you follow this account. Great, talking about, who gets what money from which institutions. And these are politicians who benefit from war, approximate amount. Okay, so the top three are Republicans, then Nancy Pelosi, Michael McCall, Maria Salazar, Alan Lowenthal. I'm not going to read you all the people, but midway down there, one of the Democrats, it's Ro Khanna. And, that's money from Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. And what that is people who make money off of the, genocide, the extermination of other people.
And so I ran out of time and couldn't get it up because we're always rushing the show.
That's what she's
not rushing it because we're working on it all day. But at the end, I was like, I'm going to get this clip up. I just found it. But Pfizer, like she's really invested heavily in pharmaceutical companies as well. So it's not just
his wife. Yeah.
His wife. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And his wife is always the excuse. Like, I can't control what she does. And, yes, you can't control what your wife does. Nobody should. But you should have a shared, on some level.
Yeah. Ideology where
he's
a public figure. He's supposed to be representing the people. And you're profiting from companies who are actively fighting against the things you say you are in favor of. So, yeah. I mean, it is just much more upsetting when somebody who claims to be on your side sells you out or never was really on the side to begin with. Yeah.
That's the real point, is that we have so few. So the betrayal is worse because people think we have somebody representing us and they're not.
Yeah.
And he has sold us out a million times over. I don't think he's a complete fraud. I think he's just a self-interested, guy who's trying to do he's the centrist sort of guy.
Yeah.
But he's sold himself as progressive. He's not completely evil.
Right.
But none of that means he's got our back, because he doesn't have our back.
He's not going to fight for it. He's comfortable enough that he can say the things that he might even agree with. We'll get there someday, incrementally. It'd be so nice, like that kind of thing. He's like every liberal friend.
People critique him like he just, look at his votes. Like sometimes he's left, sometimes he's right. But that makes him an ally to the right, to corporate donors.
Right.
They're like, he's not going to hurt us.
Yeah.
The squad's not going to hurt us.
Yeah.
Like the squad might, if they ever get balls and stand up to us, but they're never going to.
But they never do. They always divide it just in the right way.
We don't have one example of them.
Not one. We don't have one Claire Daly or Mick Wallace we don't have one. I would say, I just say I'm a leftist.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I don't know where you go with this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, honestly, I call myself a socialist.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing too. You can say socialist. Yeah.
But even that is weird, because I ally with communists entirely, but like, you're not going to get communism tomorrow. If you get anything, it's going to be socialism in my view. And it's going to come incrementally, because the police force is, police state is too strong. So it's not going to be communism. It'll be Star Trek in like 1,000 years, but we're all going to be dead by now.
I'll be dead by now. Yeah. And I think, he was, I think people who align themselves with Bernie Sanders really, they had their finger on the pulse. Like, Bernie was incredibly popular. If this were truly a democracy, I think Bernie would have won. I also think maybe like if COVID hadn't happened, Bernie might have won anyway. I don't know. Maybe they just would have sandbagged him anyway. But like, when primaries sort of started shutting down and we were trying to do the vote by mail and New York and a few other states said that they absolutely wouldn't allow that to happen, or they would penalize and not allow all the different, not representatives, what's it called? You know, the people who go to
Electors.
the convention. Yeah. If you did vote by mail, like, you know, Cuomo is such a prick about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that just really did suck a lot of the momentum out, because the truth is, even though Biden won more on Super Tuesday, Bernie won the biggest, most diverse state in the country. He won California. He won like 50 out of 55 counties in California on Super Tuesday. Anyway, but I think a lot of people kind of hooked themselves to Bernie's wagon at that point because they knew that that's what people want to hear, which is why you have Chantel Brown saying she's for Medicare for all when she absolutely isn't. She takes money from AIPAC and she's not a progressive, right? So I think he might really believe in some of those things, but he's never going to have to sacrifice anything to fight for it. Just like, you know, bring the ruckus AOC.
And look, if the squad came out and was actually the squad from the jump, Roe would have been probably on board. He's a coward.
Yeah.
You know, he's a coward. Yeah. He's a safe, rich tech bro coward. And so in his world, he gets to go to his little meetings with his buddies who are all mega millionaires and be like, I'm a better person than you.
Yeah. 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 There's like a moral,
and so
moral rectitude.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that. And I think that's driving a lot of this bullshit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, Doug. I don't know. I don't know who our person is, who it's going to be. I really don't.
We see.
Yeah.
Did we show this already?
David Trone, the AIPAC stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we?
Where are we is we are about to show the worst of the week graphic.
God, oh my God. That's terrible.
Roe Conn, the worst of the week.
I'm so out of practice. I didn't show it at the beginning.
No, I don't care. I just like showing it because he's a dumpster diver. I mean,
it's just disappointing. Again, it's why like people get so mad at AOC and the squad. It's like, you were the people who we counted on, that we fought for to fight for us, and we've just been totally abandoned. I think we should wrap it up.
We've left a lot of show on the table here. Haven't we?
I know, but I think some of these things we're going to want to cover when we talk about the media and the stuff on Sunday.
I agree.
Have a show on Sunday.
And 2 hours is our limit.
2 hours is like really, you guys
suffer too much.
My red is coming through all my pancake makeup, so it's time for me to get the hook, I think. All right. So show on, I don't know why I keep wanting to say Friday. Show on Sunday at 5.
Yeah, and Sunday we've only had one so far, but Sunday is our lighter show.
Yeah,
we're gonna show a video pretty much and sort of talk our way through it on one issue, and then a political comedian for another piece, and then there's just
lots of drinking and just
a lot of drinking and bullshitting. And please bring questions. We're gonna ask each other questions.
That's right.
Anything fun you can bring to it, please bring it and suggest it, because we just want Sunday to be lighter.
Solidarity Sunday. Yeah. Just like hang out.
Yeah. A little more of that on Sundays.
Yeah.
Should we set this video up though?
Yeah. Set it up.
Okay. So this is, can you pronounce the name? You're so much better at pronouncing these names than I am.
Heb Jamal.
Yes. I think that's correct.
That's what we're going to go with. Heb Jamal.
Okay. So this is a Palestinian protester speaking in Berlin. If you haven't followed it, Germany's really been cracking down on all the protesters there. Like they're attacking Jewish free speech.
I mean, I have to say, watching German police arrest Jewish protesters and silence them and prohibit them from speaking when they've won awards, like, I mean, it's really next level.
We didn't cover it, but your alma mater. Wait, no, not your alma mater.
Oh,
that shut down.
USC.
Had scheduled a valedictorian speaker who was her literal minor was like
not Holocaust studies, genocide studies. studies
Genocide
on
studies.
genocide. She worked with the Shoah Foundation. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
And they knew that going into the speech.
Yep.
And they're granting her the major. She earned her way to it. And they
And a
banned her.
valedictorian. And she is not allowed to give a speech.
Straight up, like USC, give them hell, please. But anyway, this is in Berlin. She's amazing. We're going to go out on that.
Cheers, everybody. We'll see you Sunday. Thanks for hanging out. Love you guys.
My name is Hibel Jamal. I was one of the speakers yesterday and the only speaker of the Palestine Conference. What happened yesterday was a travesty of justice. And the police here, they're the same as the white supremacists that ran the South in the United States. The police here are the same as the IDF soldiers that killed and massacred our children. I want to try a new chance with you guys. Berlin PD KKK. Berlin PD KKK. IDF, you're all the same. IDF, you're all the same. Berlin PD KKK. Berlin PD KKK. IDF, you're all the same. IDF, you're all the same. Yesterday, I was speaking about the murder of my husband's family. Over 30 members of my husband's family was murdered in Gaza. His house was destroyed. And as I was beginning to speak about these realities, the police came and stormed the Palestine Congress. They had no intention of letting it happen. This country, this state is a fascist state. Palestinians in Gaza, or whether we are aiming to release the man that was arrested by the Berlin police, it is the same struggle. This country is an extension of the Israeli apartheid state.